maybe name what grade you're in at North, and if you have a favorite.
Also has a strong county government background, having previously served as the finance director for Outagaming County. With Yvette's wealth of government finance knowledge, we are extremely excited to have her join our team. So Yvette.
Just wanted to say thank you to Finance Director Kalmus and City Manager Grill and the City Council. I'm very excited for this opportunity. I look forward to serving the residents of the city and our internal customers as well. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Well, congratulations and welcome.
Welcome.
I'm not going to stand up since both of us are sitting here. Next to me, we have Amy Vandenhogen, she's taken over as the city attorney. She's been with the city for 8 years. So she's a familiar face, I'm sure. So she's taking Lynn Lawrenson's place. Lynn left in December. So welcome to Amy in her new position.
And also very excited, as Rebecca said, I've been here for 8 years. I've worked in the city for 15. So I'm excited to keep rolling.
Congratulations on the new role. It's exciting to have you grow with us and stay here and help us move the city forward. So congratulations.
Absolutely.
We have a few proclamations to read and issue tonight, as well as then we're going to do a couple presentations to acknowledge some service to this community, as well as a few other partnership awards. First up, we have a couple proclamations. First one up is actually, first one is Celiac Disease Awareness Month. We're issuing that for the month of May. Whereas celiac disease is one of the world's most prevalent genetic autoimmune diseases, affecting an estimated 3 million Americans, 70 to 80% of whom are undiagnosed. And whereas celiac disease causes the body to attack its own small intestine, which can lead to many other devastating health conditions, including cancer. Whereas celiac disease results in extraordinary economic and productivity costs to both the public and private sectors from employee and student absenteeism, as well as repeated inconclusive visits to healthcare providers. And whereas on average it takes 4 years to be correctly diagnosed with celiac disease, and there is no medication or cure for celiac disease, the only treatment is a lifelong strict gluten-free diet. And whereas studies show that up to 50% of people on a gluten-free diet continue to experience symptoms and have intestinal damage, revealing the ineffectiveness of that gluten-free diet and as a treatment. And finally, whereas the Celiac Disease Foundation is a national nonprofit organization dedicated to improving the quality of life and health of individuals who have celiac disease by advancing government support for biomedical research to develop diagnostic tools, life-improving treatments, and a cure for the disease, and to raise public awareness of this serious disease. Therefore, I, Matt Mugrower, Mayor of the City of Oshkosh, do hereby proclaim May 2026 as Celiac Disease Awareness Month in the City of Oshkosh and encourage all residents to increase their knowledge and understanding of this disease. We have Building Safety Month as well. I believe Community Development Director will be accepting this one. Proclaiming May as well as Building Safety Month. Whereas the city is committed to recognizing that our growth and strength depends on the safety and essential role of our homes, businesses, and infrastructure play, both in everyday life and when disaster strikes. And whereas our confidence in the resilience of these buildings that make up our community is achieved through the devotion of vigilant guardians, building safety and fire prevention officials, architects, engineers, builders, tradespeople, design professionals, laborers, plumbers, and others in the construction industry who work year-round to ensure safe construction of buildings. And whereas these modern building codes and standards include safeguards to protect the public from hazards such as hurricanes, snowstorms, tornadoes, wildland fires, floods, and earthquakes. And whereas Built to Last, the theme for Building Safety Month 2026, encourages us all to get involved and raise awareness about building safety on a personal, local, and global scale. And whereas each year in observance of Building Safety Month, people all over the world are asked to consider the commitment to improve building safety, resilience, and economic investment at home and in the community, and to acknowledge the essential service provided to all of us by local, state, tribal, territorial, and federal building safety and fire prevention departments in protecting lives and property. Therefore, I, Matt Mugrauer, Mayor of the City of Oshkosh, do hereby proclaim May 2026 as Building Safety Month in the City of Oshkosh. And I encourage the residents of Oshkosh to join us as we participate in this month's safety activities. Director? If you want to share anything? Nope? All right. It's a weird angle. What's up? That oh. Yeah, great. And one last one to read, Public Works Week. I don't know which member of staff is going to accept this one, but I hope maybe newest director Lemke might come on up. Whereas Public Works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of the City of Oshkosh. And whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of Public Works professionals, who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector, who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our residents. And whereas it is in the public interest for the residents, civic leaders, and children in the City of Oshkosh to gain knowledge of and maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in our communities. And whereas this year, 2026, marks the 66th annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association, it's my honor to declare this next week, May 17th through the 23rd of 2026, as Public Works Week here in the City of Oshkosh. And I urge all residents to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies and activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees to recognize the substantial contribution they make to protecting our national health, safety, and advancing the quality of life for all. Director Lemke? And then I believe we also issued one in advance declaring this week as Nurses Week in the City of Oshkosh as well. We have a few presentations, which I'm excited to do. What I'll do is we have some service awards that we're going to do first, and then we've got a couple partnership awards, and then we have some Acanthus awards that we'll do after that. First up, we're going to do recognizing the Board, Committee, and Commission Service Awards. It's our time to recognize those who've achieved a significant milestone in 2025 for their service on our boards, committees, and commissions. What I'll do is I think Deputy Mayor and I are just going to come down. I got a few words to say. I'm going to invite up all the committee members who are hitting a milestone, 5, 10, we do them in increments of 5, 10, 15, and 25 year. And then if you'll all stay up, we'll take a group photo, and then we'll move on to our next awards right after. If you wouldn't mind coming down with me. So tonight we're spotlighting, I believe, 8 individuals, but we'd like to thank all of those who serve on our city's boards, committees, and commissions. Whether you've dedicated your time for 1 year or tonight, we'll be acknowledging someone who served 25. What you do is truly appreciated and helps our council to make better informed decisions. Without you, we could not do our job. So thank you again for your service to this community. Our service award recipients this year are receiving, like I said, 5-year, 15, and 25-year milestone awards. And then if you could just come forward as I call your name. Margie Davey, 5 years on Extraterritorial Zoning Committee as well as Plan Commission. Kathleen Propp, 5 years on the Extraterritorial Zoning Committee. Baron Perlman, 5 years on the Library Board. Adam Bellacarelli, 5 years on Long Range Finance Committee. And Ron Montgomery, recent retiree from the Winnebago County, for 5 years on our Police and Fire Commission. Again, all of these individuals have served 5 years on these respective boards. A few of them, I think, have served many years on other boards and commissions as well. Again, big round of applause and thank you for your service to the community. Next up, reaching 15-year milestone on the bid board is Sandra Prutney. We'll make sure she gets that. And then we have 2 25-year milestones on the bid board, James Staple. And we have, from the Police and Fire Commission, David Jones. I know David's here. That way we can look like your bodyguards. Again, on behalf of the City Council, thank you for your service as well as to all the boards and commission members in the City of Oshkosh for the service to this community. We couldn't do our job nearly as well as we try to do without the service that you provide to us and on behalf of the residents of this community. Next up, we have a Community Partnership Award. Is Michelle Carter here? Michelle, you want to come on up and join us up here? One of the important responsibilities that belongs to council and city staff is the duty to create opportunities for our residents. Those can include housing, development, and jobs. We're proud to say this community partnership has provided support to those who need it in enhancing our economic landscape. Our library recently teamed with the Wisconsin Department of Workforce Development and other partners to help create the Job Pod. This resource provides a dedicated space at our library that puts essential tools, training, and expert guidance for job seekers right at their fingertips. The department supplied grant funding for things like Wi-Fi, technology, and other career resources. People in our city who are seeking opportunity are using the Job Hub to conduct online interviews, fill out job applications, and access career coaching sessions. We thank the Department of Workforce Development for their support of the City of Oshkosh. We encourage residents who are looking for a job or a way to advance their careers to contact the library to learn more about our job pods. Accepting the award on behalf of the Department of Workforce Development is Michelle Carter, Administrator of the Division of Employment and Training. And one more Community Partnership Award. This award goes to Tom and Penny Herrenberg. Tom and Penny, if you wouldn't mind coming on up and joining Carl and I up here. Few communities in Wisconsin can boast of an admission-free gem like the Menominee Park Zoo. Yet thanks to this valuable community partnership, our city is able to do just that. More than 1 million residents and visitors have been able to enjoy our zoo at no cost for 20 years, thanks to Tom and Penny Herrenberg. Free zoo admission is just one of the many gifts that the Herrenbergs have bestowed upon our Parks Department. The zoo exhibits featuring the otter, eagle, black bear, fox, and others may not have been possible without Tom and Penny's direct support. The endowment funded by the Herrenbergs makes admission to our zoo forever free. On behalf of the generation of us who've enjoyed this gift, and on behalf of the generations to come, we say thank you for your continued support of the city of Oshkosh, and congratulations to both Tom and Penny Herrenberg on this partnership award.
Thank you, Matt. It's interesting because I viewed the park a little bit as my direct ownership. I grew up a block from the park and spent much of my youth there. And as I got a little bit older, I went down to the park and picked night crawlers from the flower bed and sold those to the E.J. Steinhilber laboratory, and picked pop bottles and got 2 cents a piece for them and took them to the Pomeranian grocery store. And when I got $50 together, my dad added $50 to it, so I doubled my money before I started, and started investing in the stock market when I was 10 years old. And it's led to an unbelievable career. I'm over 60 years on the, I'm in my 62nd year, and I've never worked a day in my life. But it's a great opportunity for Penny and I to give back to, to the city of Oshkosh, where we've been so blessed to be successful, and look forward to actually the new bear coming here shortly, and many more exhibits that we're able to fund.
Okay, Tom and I were both past presidents of the Oshkosh Zoological Society. And when we were the presidents, we did some survey with the zoo, and we noticed that mostly families came there at that time. Now everybody comes there, which I really like. And what I'm going with this is we've had so many thank you letters, which I have kept them all. And in the beginning, they were from the schools, which was so important because some of these kids wrote in there that they only could look through the fence. And at that time, I think, what was it, $1 for an adult, 50 cents for children. And I said, think of it, that's food for them. So this is one of our things that we were really adamant about, was giving back, and I think that the zoo is very important for our community and our families.
Congratulations. Thank you for the partnership. Come on up. Next, I'll introduce Shirley Broadbender-Maddox, former council member, who will help give out the Acanthus Awards this evening. Shirley, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. This is Historic Preservation Month, and during this time, we award, on behalf of the city and the Landmarks Commission, the Acanthus Awards. These were first given in 1981, so this is year number 45. And so it's a wonderful tradition to honor citizens, owners of buildings that have preserved them for the future. The first presentation for the Acanthus Award, in fact, both of them have one thing in common, and that is front porch. Remember that as we go through this. The Acanthus Award, all of a sudden the word acanthus has become nationally known because of the possibility of changing some capitals at the top of the White House. And this is a architectural motif that goes back to the time of the Greeks, 500 BC. And so in 1981, the Landmarks Commissioners decided this would be the name of our award. The first award is for a home at 912 Jackson Street. The owner is Margaret LaPointe. Margaret is in her 9th decade, and so she asked if Janko Dijanovic would accept the award on her behalf and deliver it to her. She lives in a Queen Anne-style home, and the first photo is before and after. And at first you might say, I don't see anything quite different, but there is. In fact, you might notice that in the second photo, there's an added column, which had gone missing over the year, and of course is necessary for the support of the roof. All right, there was a lot of work to be done, and Margaret was adamant that it would be done to preserve the integrity of this home. And Janko was the person that was able to meet the requirements. There are two sets of 3 columns at either end of the porch, and as you can see, they needed a lot of work. And at the bottom, there was a plinth and a base that needed to be replaced. That means it had to be created. And then the roof is elevated, and along the bottom, there had been a metal skirt, which was replaced appropriately by a cedar skirt. This is what was there. So the railings needed some help, the columns needed some help, and there was a rusted iron railing, which is good quality, but it needed help. After the restoration, this is what we have. The long railing was taken to the workshop and worked on. And this is not just a simple rail, but very decorative. And it was, all of our buildings were used old growth timber. And so they didn't rot out. Most of them were in rather good condition, but just needed replacement and making more sturdy. This is what the final product looks like once you have restored to look like they were before. The front steps, of course, needed replacement. Front porches are submitted to the elements of wind and rain and climate, and very often are one of the first things to need replacement. And so extra stringers were added to this for support, and then to also support the nice, sturdy, heavy railing. And this is the final product when it's done right, and now it still looks just like it would have looked over 100 years ago. And this is the front porch that Margaret enjoyed sitting on. She's lived in this home for 48 years. And front porches are comfortable. They're part of the neighborhood. And we congratulate her and thank her for doing this historically correct, and for the craftsman and contractor, Janko Dijanovic. Okay, go over there to the mayor.
Hi. Here on behalf of Margaret. Let me get the mic, actually.
I know, I regret everything.
You're here to accept this on Margaret's behalf. I just want to read this and then give you a chance to share some thoughts. Acanthus Award, City of Oshkosh and Landmarks Commission are pleased to recognize the contribution of Margaret LaPointe, preservation and restoration, for restoring the front porch of the 912 Jackson Street, a Queen Anne home in the historic Jackson neighborhood. And we present this to you on her behalf today.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I guess I'd just like to say thank you, everybody, for this opportunity to receive this award on Margaret's behalf. I'd also like to thank Shirley for putting this house in the running for the Acanthus Award. Thank you. That's all. find that good, my lady. There you go. Thank you. A lot of work.
The second award is in the same neighborhood at the corner of Jackson and New York, 404 West New York Avenue. This is a 1902 Georgian Revival home designed by William Klaproth and built by J.T. Raycraft, whose home is on Jackson also at 923. And he was a famous cabinet maker, builder, and we have buildings that are on the National Register that he designed. This is a photo of 404 West New York from a book in 1919 at the corner of Jackson and New York. And this was on the Yellowstone Trail, which would have gone all the way out west. And it came down our neighborhood. And you can see what a grand home it was, even when it was first built. Okay. The owner, Rich Green, is the third, or is his family, will be the third. This home was built by L. Frank Gates, who was the manager of the Diamond Match Company, the largest in the United States. It was the second owners were Roy Sullivan and his family, and he was the owner of Triangle Manufacturing, which is still here in Oshkosh. The third owners were David and Mary Green, their family, and David he was an engineer and designer for Oshkosh Truck. And after mother went into Evergreen, I was concerned about this home becoming a rental because it's a large home, lots of bedrooms, beautiful. And I connected with Rich, who was living in California, and learned that he was interested in buying the home and preserving it because he realized how important it was historically. But old homes have lots of problems. And one of them, the very first thing he did was in 2018, I'm in another century, was to contact Anderson's to redo the foundation, stabilize it, both the indoors and outdoors. And then, as you can see from the photo, there was work on the siding that needed work. The columns, there are 4 massive 2-story columns on the front of the house. And as you can see, the plinth and the base have been affected by the elements, and so they were taken apart and replaced. Siding, old growth siding, it's still good, but there were some elements that needed to be repaired, restored. And you can see, you don't have to cover the whole house with vinyl. You can repair what's there, and you still have valuable timber that will last another 100 years. This is a photo of the massive front of the house. The columns, the 2-story columns, the lunette window at the top, and the windows on the first floor were all reglazed. A new roof was put on. All of this contributes to preservation of the house. The front porch, rotted wood, the spindles, some were missing, and they were turned on a lathe exactly the same. And the entire house was painted. And you might say, what has that got to do with preservation? Well, that's one of the best ways to preserve a wood house, paint it. And for some people, that's a huge investment, but they'll still have their house. This is another view of the house that you'll see at the corner of Jackson and New York. And it's a testament to the architecture that we have in our community. Now, the award is for preservation, restoration, and stewardship. This is the first time we've given that award for stewardship. But this is a long-term preservation for projects that one after the other. It's not just one, but it's a series to continually preserve the home. And so Rich did something that is probably the strongest means for preserving. And he supported, advocated for the local landmarking of this property. And this is what we would call one of our local monuments. And we hope to do many more in our community because this is how we actually preserve. So I'd like to commend and congratulate Rich Green for coming back to Oshkosh after being gone for 34 years and taking hold of historic preservation. He's on the commission. And I'd like to, before I do this, thank Alec and Brad for serving on our Landmarks Commission. You were so valuable in what you've added, and I hope that you'll keep in touch with us. Thank you.
Richard, if you wouldn't mind coming on up. So on behalf of the City of Oshkosh and the Landmarks Commission, I'm pleased to recognize the contribution you've made in terms of preservation, restoration, and stewardship, and awarding you this Acanthus Award for a series of projects restoring and preserving the 1902 Georgian Revival Home at 404 West New York Avenue and advancing its local landmark designation. Congratulations, and thank you for the efforts you've put into this home.
Thank you for the honor. My family moved into this house in 1963. We've been restoring it to the best of our abilities ever since then. The inside is spectacular. It has not been screwed up. The wood is original. Some of the furniture is original. When we lose properties like this, we lose them forever. And it's incumbent on us, the city of Oshkosh, every one of us who takes the time to do the work to keep these houses, to keep these buildings, to keep these properties intact and preserved for generations to come. And I'm very proud that I had a part to play in helping that happen with 404 West New York Avenue. So thank you for the recognition, and special call out to Shirley, without whom I would not be involved in this commission. And Shirley is just a legend in the city of Oshkosh, and she is responsible for so much in historic preservation here.
Always nice to recognize service to the community as well as the efforts that others put into the properties and just their community in general. So thank you again to thank you and congratulations to all the award winners, our partnership awards, as well as our Acanthus awards. So congratulations again. Before we move into public hearing, I have one small agenda adjustment that council would like to make. I'll make the motion. We are going to move, I'll move to move items on the agenda, item 38, 39, 40, 41, and 42. This is all pertaining to pending resolutions that are in regards to City Center, as well as the Thompson Studio property. This is public comment, closed session, as well as to come back into open session. I'm moving those after agenda item 47.
Second.
Reasoning for it, it makes a little bit more sense to put the closed session closer to the end of the evening and not require several other new resolution applicants and interested parties, quite honestly, to have to wait until after we're done with the closed session to share their comments and for us to ask questions of them. So that's the reason for moving those, flipping those a little bit. So if there isn't anything else from council, clerk, if you'll take the roll on amending the agenda to move those 5, 38, 39, 40, 41, and 42 to be after 47.
Amos.
Aye.
Bulow.
Aye.
Stevenson.
Aye.
LaFever.
Aye.
Esslinger.
Aye.
Spanbauer.
Aye.
Mugerauer.
Aye.
7-0.
Thank you. We'll have a public hearing, or we'll open the public hearing, Resolution 26-197. This is a public hearing regarding the 2026 Community Development Block Grant Annual Action Plan. Is there any staff who's supposed to speak on this, or am I just supposed to call this 3 times? She's coming on up, so we will wait for her to join us.
I can speak on it if you'd like to know more. It's our action plan for our HUD CDBG allocation that we receive every year. We have to basically determine how we plan on spending those funds during our fiscal year with them. And that's what we've laid out. We need public input throughout the process. It's a statutory requirement, and I'm always open to hearing public input as to how we want to spend federal funds. So if you're interested, please look at the plan and offer any insight if you're interested.
Can you give a high level on what CDBG is, where it comes from, what it's used for?
Absolutely.
Please.
CDBG stands for Community Development Block Grant. The entire purpose of the program is to do blight and slum development within low to moderate income communities. We have a lot of certain census blocks within the Oshkosh area that we use these funds to help support redevelopment projects, recreational spots, activation of green spaces, public services assistance. There's a variety of ways that we funnel the funds into the community. And having this action plan is what guides us when we spend those funds.
And it doesn't come from general levy?
It does not come from general levy, that's correct. It comes from the federal government through the HUD program.
Thank you.
Excellent. Second time, public hearing for 2026 Community Development Block Grant Annual Action Plan, if anybody's interested in speaking. Third and final time, Resolution 26-197 on the 2026 Community Development Block Grant Annual Action Plan. I'm looking at this. Are we supposed to be taking a vote on this? Or is this just for public hearing only? Public comment only, right? Just wanted to make sure. Thank you. We'll consider that public hearing closed. Next up, we have a public hearing relating to the Industrial Development Revenue Bond Financing for Kingsbury Real Estate Holdings, LLC. This is on the agenda as Resolution 26-200. Consideration of a final resolution regarding industrial development revenue bond financing for Kingsbury Real Estate Holdings, LLC. First reading, or first call, second call, public hearing regarding consideration of a final resolution regarding industrial development revenue bond financing for Kingsbury Real Estate Holdings, LLC. And third and final, consideration of final resolution regarding industrial development revenue bond financing for Kingsbury Real Estate Holdings, LLC. I see no one interested in speaking. We'll consider the public hearing closed. Council, I'll take a motion and a second to put on the floor.
So moved. Second.
On this one, Sarah, Julie, yes. Ms. Combs, she threw you under the bus exceptionally fast. I want to note that for the record. If you wouldn't mind, I'm aware of what this is because we've done them a couple times in my tenure, but if you wouldn't mind telling people why we're throwing our full faith and credit rating behind a business within our community who wants to develop some land and increase their foothold here in this community.
All right, the very basic level, it helps them get a lower interest rate, and it does not put the city at any risk. So it's really adding our name to the document. They're paying the attorney fees. We have our own city bond counsel that's also being involved in it. They pay that fee. So there's no cost to the city, and it helps the business out.
Gets them a lower interest rate for their development that they're going to do
Yes.
out in the Southwest Industrial Park, if memory serves me.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Council, any other questions on this? If not,
I'll just
yeah, go right
say
ahead.
real quickly, this is one of the levers that the city can pull to help move development along that doesn't actually impact the taxpayers. So any mechanisms that we have that we're able to help businesses in a responsible way to create more development here that we don't have to use actual dollars for is fantastic.
Absolutely. City Clerk, if you'll take the roll on Resolution 26-200.
Amos.
Aye.
Bulow.
Aye.
Stevenson.
Aye.
LaFever.
Aye.
Esslinger.
Aye.
Spanbauer.
Aye.
Mugrauer.
Aye.
7-0.
Next up, we have public statements to council. I just want to confirm, Kayla Demsteg, are you here yet? Nope, you are not. We're going to move past you. And then Mr. Ken Osmond, I think you want to talk about City Center later? Just want to make sure I got you right. So at the moment, I have no one here that wants to speak on anything, just public statements to council. If you'd like to speak to council, if you want to come up to the microphone, if you can give your name and address. This is a time to speak to us on things that are not on the agenda. You're limited to 5 minutes. Not the agenda. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
That's okay. Which item would you like to speak on so I know?
Number 47,
Excellent. I will, what's your first name?
Brian.
Brian, I'll call you on 47 as well as the others.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, I have no one registered to speak on public statements to council, so we'll move to consent agenda. I also do not have anyone registered for anything consent related, so I'll take a motion and a second from council on consent.
So moved.
Second.
Deputy Mayor.
Just wanted to call out specifically item number 8, the resolution to urge the governor and state legislature to enact a comprehensive sustainable transportation funding solution. Not something that I want to vote on separately, but I just really love that we are making that ask of other funding sources to continue to look at other ways to drive our tax liability down or keep it the same with being able to get more funding into our community from other places.
Mr. Stevenson, go right ahead.
Rebecca, do you want to explain that resolution a little? I too am a big fan of it. And I also would like to call out number 25. I don't know if we need to necessarily pull it, but would also just like to highlight that we are selling land in our industrial park and a little bit of an overview of that business.
Just give me a second. So essentially, the League of Wisconsin Municipalities had asked municipalities that are members to pass a resolution from their boards so we can all ask the state government to ensure that programs like the local roads improvement program is funded and continues to be funded, and more money is possibly put in there, because obviously we're not keeping up, the transportation aids are not keeping up with the rate of inflation that is occurring. So this is asking for the state to recognize that and increase the funding. So.
And if I understand correctly, a lot of times when we do get funding, it's in like blocks or non-sustainable funding, and instead of like an annual that's going to increase over time. Is that?
Sometimes, yes. So the state aid that the city got through, I believe it was Act 12, it was an increase in our shared revenue. It was not just one-time funding, but as our budgets grow, anything that gets added is used up that year. So essentially, it is, you could think of it as one-time money, but it's not. But we also get a lot of grants that go for one-time things. You're going to be talking about one later from the federal government that we have for the pedestrian bridge. But this is specifically for state aid.
Good. And
You wanted to say something on?
yeah, I don't know if to say, just number 25, we're selling a lot in our Southwest Industrial Park for $113,360. It will be supporting what I'm going to describe as 5 industrial incubator facilities. So if Sarah wants to correct me, she can. Good, I'm getting the thumbs up. I am glad to see more industrial movement down there, and these incubator facilities are definitely needed for industrial growth. The kind of small units that, like, let's say a contractor who's just starting out or a landscaper business who's just starting out could occupy to get a space to do their accounting, store some of their equipment. So these types of businesses are very much needed for the kind of entrepreneurial level, I'll call it. If you're kind of starting at the lower end of the entrepreneurial section, you need these starter incubator spaces as you kind of move up and add more employees and things of that nature. I think it really just helps foster a sense of new businesses in our community. So happy about this.
Excellent. Council, any other comments or questions on consent agenda? If not, City Clerk, if you'll take the roll on consent.
Amos.
Aye.
Bulow.
Aye.
Stevenson.
Aye.
LaFever.
Aye.
Esslinger.
Aye.
Spanbauer.
Aye.
Mugrauer.
Aye.
7-0.
Next up, new ordinance, ordinance 26-24, amend section 27-35, appendix 27B, and section 2-57, subsection B6A of the City of Oshkosh Municipal Code to designate the parking lot located at 19 East Irving Avenue as a municipal parking lot and establish regulations for the lot. Take a motion in a second.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? If you'll take the roll.
Amos.
Aye.
Bulow.
Aye.
Stevenson.
Aye.
LaFever.
Aye.
Esslinger.
Aye.
Spanbauer.
Aye.
Mugrauer.
Aye.
7-0.
Ordinance 26-25, approves zone change from suburban mixed use to suburban mixed use with a planned development overlay for properties located at 3015 and 3025 South Washburn Street. Plan Commission recommends approval.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion on the zone change? I see none. Please take the roll.
Amos.
Aye.
Bulow.
Aye.
Stevenson.
Aye.
LaFever.
Aye.
Esslinger.
Aye.
Spanbauer.
Aye.
Mugrauer.
Aye.
7-0.
Moving right along. Ordinance 26-26. Approve zone change from duplex residential 6 to multifamily residential 20 for properties located at 115 through 185 Cherry Park Court. Plan Commission recommends approval.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on 26-26? I see none. We'll take the roll.
Amos.
Aye.
Bulow.
Aye.
Stevenson.
Aye.
LaFever.
Aye.
Esslinger.
Aye.
Spanbauer.
Aye.
Mugrauer.
Aye.
7-0.
Ordinance 26-27 approves zone changes from single-family residential 5 and duplex residential 6 district to multifamily residential 36 for properties located at 2565 Witzel Avenue, 22 Meriden Road, 38 Meriden Road, and 2628 Witzel Avenue, and Plan Commission recommends approval.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on these zone changes? I see none. Please take the roll.
Amos.
Aye.
Bulow.
Aye.
Stevenson.
Aye.
LaFever.
Aye.
Esslinger.
Aye.
Spanbauer.
Aye.
Mugrauer.
Aye.
7-0.
Ordinance 26-28, amend ordinance number 26-21 to correct ward designation for the Mellenthin annexation located at 2732 Jackson Street, and this is parcel 0180-20001.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on this amendment? Please take the roll.
Amos.
Aye.
Bulow.
Aye.
Stevenson.
Aye.
LaFever.
Aye.
Esslinger.
Aye.
Spanbauer.
Aye.
Mugrauer.
Aye.
7-0.
Remember, we adjusted the agenda. The next 5 items are going to be pushed back just a little bit. We're moving on to new resolutions. Resolution 26-224, approve Class B beer fermented malt beverage license application for NPG LLC, doing business as Witzel Avenue Pub, 1801 Witzel Avenue.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion on the application. Is the applicant here? Okay. I had questions. This will be, Mr. Amos, go right ahead.
I just have a quick question for the attorney. Does this business meet the requirements based on our ordinance to be granted this license?
So based correct on our ordinance. If you're referring to Section 4-5, the city code indicates that licenses shall not be granted or issued for basically if it's not two separate parcels, unless council finds that, considering the size and other uses of the tax parcel, it's appropriate. That is our ordinance. A memo separately submitted to you pulled out some concerns I had regarding state law and the fact that mathematically these are connecting premises because you have an already issued Class A for KN LLC. That's 2,500 square feet. This new application is for a Class B that is for a restaurant, pub, that's 425 square feet. Based on math alone, the entire building is 2,880. By my quick math, you're coming up with 2,925. I know I'm boring all of you with math facts, but 2,925 is more than 2,880. So math alone, these are connecting premises, so that's why in my memo I was highlighting the state law concern here.
Thank you.
Go right ahead, Mr. Stevenson.
Oh, I'm next up. Right now, I'm a no on this one. I would like them to, I know we've seen other applicants split the parcel, creating a separate parcel area, but then on top of that, I believe in our last discussion, we talked about 2 liquor licenses kind of overlapping, and there were shared services. I think that situation is still here. I would like the applicant to exactly specify where their premise is going to be and make sure that there isn't any overlap, and then also split the parcel. So right now, I don't think I would be able to vote for this because it goes against our ordinance and also state law.
My position hasn't changed on any of the ones that have been before us in the last few months. Won't be supportive of it. I had questions for the applicant. I'm unable to ask those. And in a nutshell, I still believe that the use of this liquor license is to subvert a felony, and that is the sole intended purpose. That instead of being operating in a felony manner, that they would just be subject to a possible misdemeanor based upon their stated the stated information that they provided to us in their application, that they will be including 5 electronic video gaming machines, which by state law are illegal devices. Mr. Esslinger, followed by Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a legal question. City Attorney, would we have any problem with being arbitrary and capricious based on prior votes, not of this council, but in the past, that we are not allowing this, but I believe one was allowed in the past, so would there be a cause of action for the council?
I would always advise not making arbitrary and capricious decisions in any context. This is a new council before you, and I think these are different facts than what was in the past, but I think you can certainly take what's before you and make a different decision than prior councils have made without being arbitrary and capricious, as long as you are finding a basis that is not.
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor.
Much like Councilmember Stevenson, I want to see them at least follow the steps that have been followed in the past, which is with a split parcel and a better description of how they're going to use each one without overlapping. So while I've been supportive of these in the past, this one I have to be a no on at this time.
Any further comments or questions from council? Floor is yours, Mr. Amos.
I just piggybacking off of what Deputy Mayor said here. As of right now, I wouldn't be able to support it because it doesn't align with our ordinance that we have for the city, nor does it align with state regulations. So for that reason, I wouldn't be able to support it as of right now.
Okay. Any other comments or questions, council? If not, City Clerk, if you'll take the roll on 26-224.
Amos.
No.
Bulow.
No.
Stevenson.
No.
LaFever.
No.
Esslinger.
No.
Spanbauer.
No.
Mugrauer.
No.
7-0 failed.
Resolution 26-225. Oh, yes. Hold on. Yes. Thank you for catching me. Give me 1 second. All right, here we go. So the resolution to approve the Class B license for NPG LLC DBA, doing business as Witzel Pub, has failed. For clarity of the record, the council will need to state the exact basis for the denial. As a result, I'll make a motion that the basis for the denial, license denial, is the council's findings that A, we want separate parcel.
So that would be ordinance, council does not find a reason to grant it under section 4-5 of our ordinance.
What she said? That was the only consistent message I heard.
And I think also, or I guess I don't want to put words in other people's mouths, but the consistency of where premise was. You pointed out that the building, it was physically larger than their building was, and being able to consistently say where that premise is without overlap, I think is.
And then the premises overlap or connect with an existing Class A premises in violation of Wisconsin State Statute 125.51, parens 8. Those would be the two reasons for basis of the denial.
Second.
Any further clarification or additions to the basis for denial? So take the roll on the basis for denial of 26-224.
Amos.
Aye.
Bulow.
Aye.
Stevenson.
Aye.
LaFever.
Aye.
Esslinger.
Aye.
Spanbauer.
Aye.
Mugrauer.
Aye.
7-0.
City Attorney, thank you for the catch on that one. Then we move on. Resolution 26-225, approved preliminary plat for the creation of 5 lots, a 5-lot commercial subdivision located at the northwest corner of South Washburn Street and West Walcott Avenue. I love that we're calling this the whack on Washburn. Plan Commission recommends approval.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion amongst council. I see none. We'll take the roll on 26-225.
Amos.
Aye.
Bulow.
Aye.
Stevenson.
Aye.
LaFever.
Aye.
Esslinger.
Aye.
Spanbauer.
Aye.
Mugrauer.
Aye.
7-0.
Resolution 26-226, approved general development plan for a new grocery store, convenience store, and car wash at the northwest corner of South Washburn Street and West Walcott Avenue. Plan Commission recommends approval.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
I have just a brief
Go right ahead.
point.
Floor is yours.
Just maybe a brief point for those in the audience, folks watching at home. The city is not the king of the land. We don't decide, well, to some degree we decide land uses, but this use fits within our zoning code, it fits within our ordinances. If something fits within our zoning code and fits within our ordinances, we approve it. I know I've just seen some chatter out there about maybe people who don't want Woodman's to go in here, but again, this is really a private sale, private development. This body doesn't deny private developments that we're not allowed to. Again, we really are functioning based off our ordinance, and if they follow it, then it gets approved. So I just wanted to make sure people knew that.
Clarification. Thank you.
And I'll just add a little bit to that, Plan Commission, or Community Development Department has worked very, very hard to make sure that this development does fit within the guidelines and expectations, and any necessary deviations have been addressed and are appropriate. So I just wanted to thank the applicant as well as staff for the due diligence that they've put in here and coming up with a good plan to move forward.
I see nothing else. Take the roll on 26-226.
Amos.
Aye.
Bulow.
Aye.
Stevenson.
Aye.
LaFever.
Aye.
Esslinger.
Aye.
Spanbauer.
Aye.
Mugrauer.
Aye.
7-0.
We've got one more that's associated with this project. Resolution 26-227, approved specific implementation plan for new grocery store, convenience store, and car wash at the northwest corner of South Washburn Street and West Walcott Avenue. Plan Commission recommends approval.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion on the SIP that's in front of us? So take the roll.
Amos.
Aye.
Bulow.
Aye.
Stevenson.
Aye.
LaFever.
Aye.
Esslinger.
Aye.
Spanbauer.
Aye.
Mugrauer.
Aye.
7-0.
Resolution 26-228, resolution to direct staff to stop further advancement of the I-41 pedestrian bridge project. I do have several people who would like to speak to us on this. First up, we have Deb Martin, followed by Andrew Bott. Just have a couple on this one. Good evening, welcome. Just a reminder to you, as well as anybody else who's going to speak, the time limit is 5 minutes. You don't have to use the whole thing, but 5 minutes, and keep it to the topic at hand, which is the resolution to stop advancement of the I-41 bridge project. Ms. Martin, floor is yours.
Thank you. I'm on the City Transportation Advisory Board, so I've been paying attention to transportation issues for several years in our city. This one was approved by council last year, and it's been being talked about since 2011. So we talk, at least in our committee, and I think in others, about a 5-year, 10-year plans for the city. So when you make a plan and then the next year you want to take it away, that just doesn't seem like good business sense. The other thing I would say is that this is 80% paid for by the federal government. If we don't do this, that money is not for any other purpose. It just goes away. Someone somewhere else will get that 80% money. It won't be something we can do. And if we don't do it now, and we haven't done it since 2011, when in the world would we do it? We have, by the Wisconsin DOT, there's a website you can look at, and the eligible people to drive based on age in our state. You can look it up by community, but I haven't done that. About 30% of the residents in our state do not have driver's license, which would imply they're probably not driving. And that doesn't even count the children that we have in our city that have to get safely around. There are many people that not only biking for recreation, but people are biking to work because they can't afford a car or just don't have other means to get there. There are children that live on the west side of our city that may want to go to the east side, to school or to the pool or something like that. The roundabouts we're getting better. The lights, flashing lights to help drivers is pretty good. I take these roundabouts every day. They are not really that safe an option for kids or anyone walking or biking. This pedestrian bridge is about the safety in our community, not just for today, but for years into the future, as the west side continues to grow out, because we're up against the lake on the east side. So I just urge you to keep with the vote that you had last year and the work that's been in progress for many, many years, and not do a whiplash to stop it at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrew Bott, hopefully I've got that right, followed by Emmy Carrick. Emmy. Good evening.
Hey,
welcome.
Guys. Thanks for having me. Wanted to say a few things about this pedestrian bridge. I'm a small business owner. I'm also a student studying at UW Oshkosh. I live over on the west side of town, and I commute by bicycle to campus every single day. I don't really want to beat the dead horse, though. I would rather provide a little bit more information that maybe would help you make a more informed decision going forward here. A walkable city is an urban environment designed for easy and safe pedestrian and bicycle access to daily needs without relying on their cars. I own a car. I'm still choosing to ride my bicycle every day. Some key benefits to that: lower obesity rates, reduced carbon emission, higher property values too. I mean, I don't see any loss to daily bicycle commuting. I think that's a great thing. To get even more into it, climaterealityproject.org says that just by walking 9 minutes a day, people are 33% more likely to report better mental health. Walkable cities tend to have lower traffic fatalities than compared to car-dependent cities. Civicwell.org says pedestrians spend 65% more at local businesses than car drivers do. 65% more. I don't want to speculate on why that is. Reducing traffic speeds 5 to 10 miles an hour or lowering traffic volume can increase property values by up to 20%. Traffic volume. So just more people choosing to be on their bikes like me. Reduced car dependence reduces air pollution and mitigates urban heat island effect. Definitely some things that I encourage you guys to look up if you aren't already aware of them. Like I said, don't want to beat the dead horse. I'm going to leave you with one last question. Does discontinuing this 41 pedestrian bridge help make Oshkosh a more walkable city? Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Emmy Carrick, followed by Sean Lynch. Good evening. Welcome.
I'm here tonight to urge the council to reject this resolution and allow the I-41 pedestrian bridge project to move forward. This bridge is valuable infrastructure that would provide a long-term investment in safety, accessibility, and connectivity for our city. Right now, 41 acts as a barrier that divides Oshkosh in two, and for people who walk, bike, or use mobility devices, or don't have reliable access to a vehicle, getting from one side of our city to the other can be extremely difficult or impossible. I only live 3.5 miles from my workplace, but it would take me over an hour and a half to walk there. I enjoy biking and frequently bike on the weekends, but I literally have to leave the city to use my bike. I wish I could bike safely from my home near the West Haven area so I could get to work or go get groceries, patronize some local businesses, or visit our parks. But I go to Green Bay or Fond du Lac instead because they have great biking paths where I can ride to a restaurant or a shop without being worried about being hit by a car. I'd rather spend that money in Oshkosh, and I would if we had a safe way to navigate our city. I've spoken to many people in my own life who say that they would love to see this project move forward and that they would use the bridge frequently. My significant other, my dad, my friends, my coworkers. I also know someone personally who was severely injured after being hit by a car while biking in Oshkosh. He spent weeks in the hospital and almost lost his life. Projects like this make a very meaningful difference for our safety. And I understand that not every single person in Oshkosh is going to use the pedestrian bridge, but I haven't driven down every single street in our city, and I've lived here my whole life, and I'm still very happy to support our roads with my tax dollars, even if I don't drive on all of them. Additionally, cities that are willing to invest in themselves are drivers of economic development. A pedestrian bridge creates a safe connection between neighborhoods, businesses, parks, schools, and community spaces. This is exactly the kind of project that I want my tax dollars to pay for. Cities across the country are recognizing that walkability and bike infrastructure are not fringe amenities. They are economic development tools. They attract young professionals, families, visitors, and businesses. They increase access to local commerce, they improve public health, and they reduce traffic congestion. They make cities more livable and more connected. This bridge also reflects something important about Oshkosh's future. Are we a city that invests in itself and builds for the next generation, or are we a city that says no to opportunity? I ask you to think carefully before abandoning a project that has already secured grant funding, moved through some advancement in planning, and has the potential to benefit Oshkosh for decades to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Sean Lynch, if you're here. Excellent. And then I believe we had Brian, who'll be after Sean. Good evening. Welcome.
I'm Sean Lynch at 502 North Main Street, the owner of Winnebago Bicycle on Main Street. I suppose it would be all too tempting to think you know what my thoughts on this matter would be. And you'd be right.
I was ready for a curveball there.
Imagine that, huh? I think the speakers before me put some very good points before you, and I don't really see much need to kind of continually rehash the exact same points. I mean, Deb Martin's point about the matter being brought up in 2011 and having been also renewed, I believe, again in 2019 when we renewed the bike and pedestrian plan. It just kind of seems like something that we started that we are still working on finishing. It's kind of always been something that personally I've been a big proponent of, is starting what you finish. We're talking about safety of pedestrians. I do so certainly hope that this is false information. However, on my way here this evening, I received a message from a friend who was out riding, and apparently there was another cyclist hit on 9th Avenue, the west side of 41, in one of the roundabouts there. it seems to me that these kinds of things are certainly preventable if we decide that we're going to be the kind of community that protects its citizens by finishing what we start. Thank you.
Thank you. If you wouldn't mind giving full name and address, and then 5 minutes.
Hello, my name is Brian Keenert, 1647 Sanders Street, Oshkosh, Wisconsin, 54902. I've been in this community since 1981, and I've been a part of the cycling communities for pretty much that same amount of time. When I was younger, I was one of the leaders and organizers, and it's a large cycling community, and it's a fairly close-knit cycling community. When someone is hit by a motorist, my phone blows up, and so this is a pretty personal issue for me. These injuries and fatalities as a result of people needing to get over Highway 41 are unnecessary and preventable, and we have the project approved now. We have the funding approved now. I cannot for the life of me think of any reason that anyone would want to stop this project from my perspective, because I don't see any upside to stopping it. It's virtually paid for. We're not going to get a better deal than this, and this money will just go away like the other young lady said. It's, for me, a no-brainer that we follow through with this. And the rationale, the only rationale I can think of to stop it is just pure spite, because the project is paid for. And I'll give you a classic example. I was literally on my way here. I was on the elevator, and my phone started blowing up. Someone was hit on 9th Avenue overpass on one of the roundabouts. Just an update, another biker was hit on the west roundabout on 9th Street tonight. They currently have it blocked off. So then I just asked if they could keep me updated. You know, this affects me now. I know a lot of the people, I know dead people. I know this is preventable. I know that we have the money now to do it, and I know that I don't understand why we're saying no to something after we've been begging for this since 2011. It doesn't make sense to me. Can I ask questions of the council?
You can, doesn't mean we're going to answer, but you can ask.
Fine, I'm just
being honest.
Mr. Esslinger, I believe that you're the author of this resolution.
Correct.
And can you explain what this could possibly do?
Coming up.
Excuse me?
Coming up, yes, I can, yes.
What I suggest is ask the questions, and hopefully they will.
It's my turn to listen to you, and
Yes,
then
I
I explain.
understand. I'm just trying to figure it out, and I don't mean to make trouble or be oppositional, but this is something that's very important to me and our whole cycling community, because we all know each other, and when people get injured, sometimes lifelong injuries, sometimes they don't make it. When you encounter a vehicle on your bike, you're going to lose. You know, I've been hit by vehicles. Most of the time, it's completely just an accident. But what I'm saying is now we have a solution. Now we have the project approved, we have the money for it, and we have the ability to prevent these injuries and fatalities. And that's why I'm here. I can't not be here for this. It's a personal issue for me. And I hope that people will find it in their heart to let this project go through, because it is affecting people. I'm not the only one. It's affecting a lot of people. This whole community would benefit from this project, whether you use it or not. This is This is a small town. We all know each other. And it does affect us. So I just wanted to say I'm in support of this project for personal reasons and I'm a member of this community. I believe in this community. I love this community, and I want people to be safe in this community. We have the solution. I think we should go forward with it. I don't think we should stop it. This chance probably won't come again, and so this is the time to do it. And I totally disagree with this resolution. And I don't mean anything personal by it, Mr. Esslinger, but I, for the life of me, can't see how human life is somehow going to be superseded by the rationale of this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Brian, I just have, on a human level, without going into too much specifics, do you know the status of that individual who was in an accident this
We
evening?
don't know yet. Most people reporting are telling me that they came onto it during the investigative phase where they're sweeping up the glass and putting out the yellow tape. And 9th Avenue is our busiest intersection. And when you have to block that off, it's a very big deal. And that's the other issue. It's very inconvenient for motorists when they have to block it off like that, because then it can take a long time. They have to pick up forensic evidence and things like that. It's just...
Okay.
If we have the federal money right here, right now, and we don't do it, it just goes away. It doesn't make sense to me when we can save lives and we can keep people safe and we can enhance our community. Like the other person said, people look at these kind of amenities when they're trying to decide where they want to live. Okay? That's all I have to say. I'm sorry.
That's good. Thank you. I appreciate.
You started it.
I did, and I appreciate trying to answer me. So, I do not have anyone. I do have somebody else that did just register. I just want to make sure. I don't know what you registered on. Janet.
That'd be City Center.
Yep. Is that on this item or is it a different item?
No, I think you changed the numbers of the.
Is it for City Center or something else?
Yeah, it's for City Center.
I'll call you when we come back to that in just a few moments here. Excellent. With that, I have no one else that is interested in speaking that I'm aware of on this item, so I'll take a motion in a second to put it on the floor.
Gilmet?
I will give you a second so we can hear the rationale.
Thank you.
But I think by the lack of second, besides me, it probably is telling of the possible.
I can understand that.
But I will, floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. You know, probably find this hard to believe, but I actually agree with much of what was said by the speakers. When we got our first roundabout in Jackson and Murdoch, I was on the council at that time, and we had representatives from the Department of Transportation at an informational meeting here explaining the roundabouts and what goes in with all of the development and the traffic expectations. And at that time, I expressed some concerns, vehicular-wise and pedestrian-wise, with the roundabouts. And the council and the community was assured by the representatives of the Department of Transportation that these are safe. These roundabouts are safe. You know, I don't think you won't have to worry about them, but the traffic incidences go down with the roundabouts. Because of the way they're structured for pedestrians, it's safer for the pedestrians. And I think at that point, I pretty much said, BS, come on. But this is something that the state wanted, and so we got the one that we got, and now we got them all over the place. So I wasn't for these roundabouts to begin with, but that's a whole different issue. I just wanted to explain that. My problem with this is if there were these types of bridges that were incorporated with the roundabout somehow, I'm not an engineer, traffic engineer, I would absolutely be for this, because I think these types of bridges are safer than the roundabouts. I said that all along. So it's the one that we have proposed here is the problem, not the fact that it's a bridge, but how it's constructed and where it's constructed, I believe, are the problems. And so currently there are no less than 5 different bridges to get across Highway 41. So this isn't a case where you can't get across Highway 41. You can. This bridge is going to be placed between Witzel and Highway 21, and more specifically where the bar is, and then across to U-Haul. So if you really think about it, anyone from Witzel that lives from Witzel south really will not use this, because they will, if you want to traverse Highway 41 and go east and west, you will come up from either the east or west, and you're not going to go from Witzel. The bridge is about a half a mile down. You're not going to travel a half a mile down, go over the bridge, and then travel a half a mile back this way to get back on Witzel and go east. And likewise, you're not. And likewise, sir?
Paul, if you wouldn't mind. So the way this works, we gave the opportunity for citizens to speak to us, and we respect that, and we sit here and we listen. And I'm going to ask that the audience now remain quiet. It's our time to now debate and to discuss and talk. That's the only warning. After that, I'll ask you to leave, and that'll be the end of the evening for anybody who can't control themselves going forward. I'm sorry to have that, but that's the way this has to operate. Paul, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. And likewise, if you're at 21 and you go to the pedestrian bridge, I mapped this out a little bit, it's about 4/10 of a mile. So the logistics, they just make absolutely no sense. Now, I guess a couple of remarks. This, as some council members up here, we just went through a campaign to get elected, and this was an issue that was brought up by once or twice in different areas. And at that point in time, I said that if I were to be elected, I would bring this up and see if I can get rid of this. So I understand you don't like it. I get that. It was a campaign issue. It was a campaign promise. I am keeping a promise that I kept. Imagine that, a politician that actually keeps a promise. Every year, council members, including myself, get asked by citizens, why do taxes go up? Well, primarily because the salary and the benefits of the staff are about 85% of the budget, and that's primarily why it goes up. Well, projects like this do raise taxes. They have to be paid by taxpayers. And then every time we have a budget time, staff and the council struggle with keeping taxes low. So when my personal opinion is, this is not going to benefit us, why would you pay money that's not going to benefit you? Don't raise taxes when you don't have to raise taxes. And the other bad part about this is 80%, as the gentleman correctly indicated, funding from the federal government. The federal government is $39 trillion in the hole. We are over, I think it's over $100 million in the hole. That's a problem. Also, I think the way the finance director indicated, or maybe the traffic director, while we get 80% funding from the federal government, the project you have to pay for the project up front. And the federal government doesn't just give you all the money up front. It gets paid off over the years. So we're stuck with paying for it up front, and then the interest that has to be paid on that debt over the years. The estimates. I'd like to know the last time we had a government estimate that was correct. This one probably won't be correct either. The estimate is for $2 million for the city portion. Let's just go with that and say that's true. That does not include the purchase of the property, which could be $500,000 or more. That does not include the infrastructure that's going to have to go along with this project. So there are many things that go on. I've got some other notes here, but I know where this is going. So in my case, if you want to spend money, if you want to spend taxpayers' money, it has to make sense. I understand the bridge, I understand a part of it. This bridge certainly will be a lot safer than the roundabouts. I have no problem saying that. I just don't think that this bridge will be used to the extent that some of you do. I think it'll be, when it's done, it'll be new, it'll be shiny, and people are going to want to use it, and then over the course of months and years, no one will use it anymore. And those are my personal opinions. I respect anyone that disagrees with that. I get that all day long, but to answer your question, sir, those are my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Stevenson.
Yeah, I have some comments, thoughts on this, and also, before I start, I respect your opinion, Paul, too, even if I maybe disagree. But I kind of wanted to address maybe some of Paul's comments, and then maybe some of the comments I'm seeing online. I also want to give a shout out to anybody who just said walkable today. I don't think 10 years ago we would have said those words, and now we're actively talking about a walkable city. As a city planning professional, it makes me smile, so thank you. I think first I want to talk kind of high level on the pedestrian bridge, right? I mean, ultimately, I think this discussion boils down to budgetary concerns. We have a pedestrian bridge. Depending which way you slice it, it probably costs the city anywhere from $2 to $4 million to get this thing in. We have a significant portion of it funded by the federal government and $8 million. Again, I think we're not going to get a better deal than we are today on this. But some of the discussion that kind of centers around this is, oh, the bridge is too expensive. Some talks about taxes, things of that nature. But I want to point out that no individual project raises your taxes. No individual project is responsible for a budget deficit or overrunning your borrowing. It all has to fit into this plan, into a CIP, into our borrowing capacity. We're talking about a lot of this tomorrow. So really, what happens when we put these documents together, we prioritize things, right? We're not individually looking at if something is too expensive. We're saying, where do all these things that we have to we know we have to pay for line up on everybody's spreadsheets? So when we do decide how to spend cities' money, typically safety things come to the top. I think a lot of the audience noted safety benefits to this project. Typically, we always see things like roads, things for the police, things for stormwater sewer expansions, things like that. We see those rise to the top because they're a health and safety issue. So when we have a project like this, I really can't fathom why this doesn't come to the top, why this isn't in the top of our kind of calculus when we're talking about this. So we literally have people dying crossing 41, and I'm not being hyperbolic when I say that. We have actual deaths in our city. It's the highest injury corridor in our city for bicyclists and pedestrians. I don't think any council member up here is pro-citizen death. So I would assume that if we want to save lives, stop injuries, that this would be one of the projects we would bring to the top. I kind of jokingly, I think, told one of our directors that I'm the parks guy, but I would forego any park improvement next year if it meant getting this safety amenity into our community. I'm not proposing that right now, community development director or others, but I really think this comes down to prioritization. Again, I also want to address a little bit of the talk I've heard around roundabouts and lighted signals. Roundabouts are safer for cars. Probably not safer for pedestrians and bicyclists, but that's also true for lighted intersections. So lighted intersections are worse for cars and still probably the same safety level for pedestrians and bicyclists. So if we were to want to get rid of all these roundabouts and put in signaled intersections, we're not going to move the needle on anything. We're going to make it worse for vehicles. We're going to make it the same safety level for pedestrians and bicyclists. So that's not a solution. What is the solution? The solution is to completely separate those modes of transportation, making a pedestrian bridge. I think some of the points that maybe I like where the crossing is. I'd love to have another pedestrian bridge. I mean, I do think people will travel to it. Anybody who bikes, I'm a terrible biker, but I do try to bike. I will go out of my way to not go on streets that have traffic. I will go out of my way to go places that I know that are safe. So I know bicyclists and pedestrians will go out of their way to try to go on this bridge because they know that it's safe. So I do think it'll be used. Again, I just want to really hit home that this is a safety issue. This is saving people's lives. This comes to the top of mind, the top of my project list when it comes to the city borrowing money. So I am an emphatic yes. I think this is a good use of funding. This is a responsible use of tax dollars, and it's also a really good deal. We got a ton of this money already funded by the federal government for it. So thank you.
Deputy Mayor, followed by Councilmember Spanbauer.
I've heard a couple times that this is considered to be a nice to have and not a must have. And I understand that sentiment. I understand where Paul's coming from here. But to me, safety is a must have, not a nice to have. And even if it wasn't, let's just take that out. And even if it wasn't, this is a great value investment for what we're getting for it. And as we just discussed earlier, we voted 7-0 to urge higher level of governments to put more funding here, and then we would, in the same meeting, say, no, we don't want that funding here. I find that hard to stomach, especially when the investment does make sense. I will admit that I have not found the money tree yet. I've kept looking. I was hoping Famous Amos would bring it with him when he came. And the city has a lot of priorities that have pretty big price tags, and we just talked about that in a workshop before this meeting. And this body is going to have to sit down and rank these priorities, and this is one that I still rank very, very highly. I will personally attest to the opportunity for this bridge as I live downtown, and there's an incredible little mountain bike trail behind Aurora Hospital for anybody who has not adventured to it. And I love to enjoy that trail, and I will ride to that trail from my downtown house. Just for reference, Paul, that's quite a bit farther than 0.4 miles to get to it, to just to be able to use that bridge. And I'm happy to bike there. And I've always felt comfortable going through the intersections because if you can't tell, I'm quite large and cars don't want to hit me. But when I have my kids with me, it got to be a different story. So when my kids want to go with me, we actually load up the truck, drive over there, park behind the hospital, and then ride on the trail. Because, well, I felt okay. I did not feel okay with them behind me when I couldn't watch what they were doing, and ADD takes over and they end up in a grill. So, and not to make light of a terrible situation that can happen, but I deal with humor with everything. So as many have said, this project is not for every person, but it's a project for the community, and I'll continue to support this project.
Councilmember Spanbauer, followed by Councilmember LaFever.
Paul, I'm sympathetic to your kind of call for some fiscal prudence here, but I think the amount of time that staff has spent on this, the kind of clear indication that this would mean giving back millions of dollars to the federal government. As someone who has been in a position where we've had to give grants back, that's just not a good look. To be perfectly honest, it just doesn't look very good. So I'm in support of the pedestrian bridge. I'm an avid bicyclist. As many folks have called out here, I think safety, is a key part of this. One death is too many. So if people are kind of asking about accidents and how many and what's going to happen, one is enough for me to say we needed to do something different. I also agree that yes, I would have loved to have seen 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, when we were rebuilding bridges and things to go over 41, that we had developed those differently. And, again, hindsight's 2020. Maybe we should have done that differently. Maybe we should have developed the overpasses to contain more pedestrian-friendly infrastructure. And I know that is something that this community has also been calling for a long time. So I don't want to also ignore the fact that people have been asking for that. And again, as a pretty avid bicyclist, I am very aware. I've been on the roads and I've had people pull up and almost try and run me off the road and shake fist at me and yell at me. And sometimes the irony is I will turn around and look at a sign by our wonderful sign department that says, "Please share the road with bicyclists." So that signage is out there. The road is where bicycles belong, but I will not ride in some places on the road because of, unfortunately, the behaviors of some individuals. So I have also just one for maybe anecdotal or otherwise evidence. We have had people at the university who have told me that they will not look at buying houses west of 41 because they cannot bike safely across 41. So if you want to talk about development, if you want to talk about housing, if you want to talk about these other things, these are people who will not buy houses, who will not go west of 41 because they do not feel that they can safely bike to that location. So for those reasons, I'm in support of continuing the pedestrian bridge.
Mr. LaFever.
Thank you.
Hi, this is my first time weighing on this project, so I would like to ask a couple of questions of staff first. I believe we have Director Collins coming up to the podium.
We need entrance music.
Walk-up themes?
Everybody should have their own song.
Do I get to pick?
No. Hi. So my first question is operational. Would the bridge have snow and ice removal during our Wisconsin winters? If so, what would that look like? Is the expectation that someone could realistically use this to get to school, work, or campus in, let's say, January, and not just on a nice day in the summertime?
Yes, that is the intention, that it would be cleared and be available for use year-round. I did do some, I've talked to some of our peers in the state that have similar type infrastructure. Most of them do maintain them. During the winter, they plow them and remove the snow and ice. The only one that didn't was in Fond du Lac, but I think that one's mostly because it's for connected to the Goose State Trail. So I don't know that if they operate that necessarily in winter. I'm not 100% sure, but I know Appleton for sure does, and they have at least two, as well as the other communities that I'm familiar with.
Thank you. My next question is about accessibility. Looking at the conceptual design with the long approaches and the spiral ramp, could you speak to the ADA compliance? Is this designed to be fully accessible for residents using wheelchairs, mobility devices, strollers, or other equipment? Are there any grade or accessibility concerns that we should be aware of?
Yes, it will be fully ADA compliant, as these are federal funds. As a condition of the grant funding, we have to follow all the federal regulations. So it adds some time to the project to follow all those processes, but they are required. So one of those would be ADA accessibility. There's environmental regulations, wetland, I mean, there's a whole list of things that we'll have to follow, but ADA is on top of the list for sure.
Great. And how does this project fit into the city's broader walkability and bikeability strategy? Is this intended as a standalone project or as a longer-term effort to build a more connected pedestrian network across Oshkosh?
Yes, so as some of the speakers mentioned, this is part of the city's bike and pedestrian plan, which was originally adopted in 2011. I think there was a version of that actually before that when it was a subcommittee of the Parks Board, but again in 2019. And if you look at either of those two plans, you'll see how this bridge would fit into that network. In particular, since I've been here and we've started implementing a lot of that plan, you'll notice that there are bike lanes on Taft Avenue, which this will directly connect to, which connects to Oshkosh West High School as well as Red Arrow Park. It's not a perfect connection, but it does get people on the west side to the Wyowash Trail, which is, I've talked to people currently that trailer their bikes because of the inaccessibility of the trail from the west side. So yes, it is part of the citywide plan, which we will continue to work on. And I want to assure you too that I know Mr. Lynch talked earlier, and he's on our transportation committee now. He was an advocate with the bike and pedestrian committee before that, which has been folded in the transportation committee. But we do look at bike and pedestrian planning as well and make sure that that's considered. And that was part of the goal of consolidating all those boards and committees that relate to transportation together so that we can look at everything kind of as a complete picture. Whether it be sidewalks and walking, biking, motor vehicles, a little bit of making sure we're accounting for all different types of transportation.
Okay, thank you. That's all my questions.
All right, you're
Appreciate it. Cool. So I want to zoom out from just about this bridge and talk about something bigger, and that is what kind of city we want Oshkosh to be. Today, Oshkosh is by and large a car-centric city, just like many communities across the Midwest. We build roads, we repair roads, we widen roads, we plow roads, and every single day residents ask us to fix the roads. Usually those investments move forward without a lot of fanfare. So my question is, Why is it that when we spend millions of dollars on infrastructure built for cars, we don't spend nearly as much time scrutinizing it, but when we invest in a heavily grant-funded pedestrian safety project, suddenly every dollar has to defend its existence? To be fair, the questions about cost, location, maintenance, and long-term obligations are all valid and they deserve to be answered. But this is an infrastructure project. Walkability and bikeability are infrastructure, pedestrian safety is infrastructure, and not everyone in Oshkosh drives, as we heard from the public comment tonight. Not everyone can afford a car. Not everyone is physically able to drive. Some people walk, some people bike, some people roll, some people rely on safe connections to school, to work, and many more would choose those options if safer infrastructure existed, like this bridge. And I want to reiterate that this project didn't appear overnight. A crossing over I-41 has been discussed in city planning documents for well over a decade, reaffirmed through multiple planning efforts, and brought forward through years of work by staff, planners, and community advocates. So I want to thank everyone involved in getting this project to where it is today. Frankly, I want to see more projects like this come before the council. I want Oshkosh to continue investing in safer crossings, stronger bike connections, better sidewalks, and infrastructure that connects neighborhoods rather than divides them. But if we're going to build infrastructure like this, we also have to be honest about what comes with it, and we have to be willing to maintain it and prioritize it and treat it like the infrastructure that it truly is. If we say that Oshkosh values walkability, that commitment can't end when the ribbon is cut. It has to exist in January. It has to exist after a snowstorm. It has to exist when someone is walking across the Main Street Bridge, the Jackson Street Bridge, or any city-owned sidewalk trying to get to work, school, or home safely. So when I ask about maintenance, it's because I believe in it enough to ask whether we are prepared to follow through. I hear from residents all the time who feel that sidewalks, especially on city-owned infrastructure like our bridges, too often has become an afterthought after winter weather. And if we're serious about walkability, I think that that is something that needs to be looked into. So tonight, I'll be voting no on the resolution because I believe in walkability, I believe in pedestrian safety, and I believe that this project is in the best interest of Oshkosh and the long-term future of our city. Is it the perfect location? Maybe not. Do we live in a perfect world? We do not. But this is a real opportunity to make Oshkosh safer, more connected, and more accessible for people on both sides of I-41. And tonight, I'll be proud to support that opportunity.
I think probably Mr. Amos, do you want anything to say on this one? Otherwise, I'm going to go.
We're good. Go.
Sounds good. I think I was the lone no vote back in budget time on this one, for a variety of reasons. And council adjudicated this matter 6 months ago. I can't be about process all the time when I sit up here, and I preach process a lot, and I have over my time up here, but I can't be about process, and then when it's convenient, turn my back on one of my core principles as I sit up here, and then vote against the process. We've already adjudicated it. I'm not in favor of or a fan of reconsidering past council's actions, whether I agree or disagree on how it came out, what the outcome was. In this case, I won't support the resolution tonight because of that. This was already determined. In fact, I will have one or two more kicks at the can if I want to try to vote this down. I will have one or two more times. There will be acquisition, there will be grant acceptance, there'll be, as well as an awarding of the bid to construct this thing as well. So those will be my opportunities to do that. I won't try to do that tonight, and I'll stand firm on my commitment that our process matters, and again, I won't support the resolution tonight. Council, is there anything else on this one? If not, City Clerk, please take the roll on 26228. A yes is to stop further advancement, no is to deny the resolution.
Amos.
No.
Bulow.
No.
Stevenson.
No.
LaFever.
No.
Esslinger.
Aye.
Spanbauer.
No.
Mugrauer.
No.
6-1 fails.
Thank you. We're going to move to the couple items that we had adjusted the agenda on. First up, we have public comment. This is item 38A, if you're keeping track in your hymnals. Public comment on Resolution 26-194 to direct staff to proceed with the acquisition of 101 Commerce Street and 201 Pearl Avenue in the city of Oshkosh, commonly known as City Center. We are going to do public comment first. Then council will have the ability to go into closed session to learn more and discuss, at which point we will come back, reconvene in open session, and then both resolutions will be put on the floor for some sort of action, whether it's directing staff to proceed or not, and doing something else. So first up, again, Resolution 26-194, this is public comment on the City Center portion. I have Alicia Wenger, followed by Kenneth Osmond, who would like to speak with us. Alicia, if you're here, if I could have you come on up, welcome. Same constraints as the other speakers, 5 minutes, topic at hand. And welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Alicia Wenger, 111 North Main Street. Good evening, everyone. I serve as the project manager of business and community development for Greater Oshkosh Economic Development Corporation, also known as GO EDC. But tonight I'm also speaking as someone who proudly lives in Oshkosh, invests in Oshkosh, and deeply believes in the future of our downtown and riverfront. At GO EDC, our mission is to support economic growth and long-term prosperity through the Greater Oshkosh area. One thing that we know from communities across the country is that strong, vibrant downtowns matter. They matter for business attraction, for talent retention, housing growth, tourism, entrepreneurship, and overall quality of life. Catalyst sites like City Center are rare opportunities. Large-scale redevelopment opportunities in the heart of a downtown do not come around often, especially sites with this kind of visibility, riverfront access, and potential to reconnect key areas of our community. This property has the ability to become something transformational for Oshkosh, not because one single project solves everything, but because strategic redevelopment creates momentum. It encourages private investment, it increases activity and energy downtown, and it creates opportunities for commercial development, public gathering spaces, potential housing developments, and a stronger connection to our waterfront. And perhaps most importantly, it sends a message about who we are as a community and where we see ourselves going. I know that redevelopment conversations can bring uncertainty, differing opinions, and difficult decisions. That is natural when discussing a property of this scale and importance, but I believe it's important that we continue to think long-term about the future of Oshkosh and the kind of downtown that we want the next generation to inherit. GO EDC remains committed to supporting the city throughout these ongoing efforts however we can, whether through development support, partner coordination, business engagement and support, site positioning, or helping identifying opportunities that move the vision forward. And if you have had the opportunity to check your email, GO EDC President and CEO Tricia Rathermel also shared a formal letter of support regarding this effort. That letter included support from several local leaders and stakeholders who believe in the importance of continuing to thoughtfully explore the future potential of this catalyst site and the long-term impact it could have on our downtown and broader community. As someone who has chosen to plant roots here, build a career here, and invest personally into this community, I truly believe Oshkosh has incredible momentum right now. We have an opportunity to continue building a downtown and riverfront that reflects the energy, creativity, and pride of this community. Thank you for your time and for your continued leadership and thoughtful consideration on this important project.
Thank you. Let's see here. We have Mr. Osmond, followed by Janet, I'm sorry, Washatka. Thank you. Good evening, welcome.
Hello, Ken Osmond, 313 West New York Avenue, owner of Planet Perk Coffee Houses at 100 Suite C City Center. Been there for 18 years, officially this past weekend. And I just want to, I'm going to be a drum that beats through this entire process. And I'm going to answer a question that Mr. Esslinger asked. What are we buying? My business is located in the old Park Plaza at J.C. Penney's location. I rent approximately 5,000 square feet. In that location, I employ 16 people, and I have some really awesome neighbors and some outstanding landlords. But one of the most unfortunate things that's occurred is the mischaracterization by the GOEDC about this facility. And the survey was really unfortunate because here's the thing. People said that they wanted restaurants and dining, retail shops, public waterfront or plaza, parks and green space, entertainment venues, cultural or art uses, office or employment space, hotel, lodging, and housing. 6 of those 9 currently exist. We're there. We pay taxes, we employ people. And just to correct the record that's out there in the social media sphere, there are 5 restaurants. 4 of them offer outdoor seating. There are 3 consulting firms, 3 marketing firms, 4 exercise and healthcare facilities there, 2 retail shops, 2 music studios, 2 art studios, a yoga studio, a dance studio, a martial arts studio for children, a magazine, an employment agency, a child care center, a salon, an outdoor dining and plaza area already exists. Oshkosh Community Bike Program is housed there. There is co-working space. The county's only cat lounge is in the facility, and we have a bookstore. A lot of the small businesses that are in that space provide multiple experiences for the Oshkosh community. So we partner with the Council on Aging. We partner with the public library to provide community gathering events, book clubs. We do all those things already. So when you're doing your calculus for this throughout the process, think about what you're buying and think about how you have to protect and preserve what's already there. Because this isn't a redevelopment issue. I hate that word, because now you're talking about tax dollars and you're talking about giant egos. Okay, this is a restoration of one of the first indoor malls in America that was repurposed, reduce, reuse, recycle. We repurposed the building, and so it's not redevelopment like knock it down and redevelop it. So the city has to consider in its calculus that this is an access issue and a restoration issue, not redevelopment. That word is being overused and misused, okay? So as you're going through this, please just consider in your decision, what puts the city in the driver's seat? What puts it in the driver's seat to get the most out of that property and preserve what it's already getting? Because you don't want to destroy the nearly 30 businesses I just rattled off in the process. So again, I'm going to be a rock in your shoe for all eternity while this is going on, just to keep reminding you of that. In my business alone, we have senior citizens get cat therapy, for dementia patients. We give away 4,000 free books a year to young school children. We spend about $43,000 a year on feeding and clothing the homeless. And that's just us. So think of the other businesses that are doing those sorts of things there. We bought in. So that's all I wanted to keep getting out there.
Thank you. Janet Washatka? Good evening, welcome.
Janet Washatka, 1020 Baldwin Avenue, Oshkosh. And, this is appropriate. I'm better known as Janet Planet. That's my musical name, and Planet Perk. And I have to be honest, I came here earlier and I left. I went home. I thought, this is hopeless. But I came back because I resonate with you. And I want to say everything he said. Okay, so my husband and I have been musicians and educators and recording studio in Oshkosh, based in Oshkosh, for 40 years. And we are world known because of that. And I mean because of the recording aspect of what we do. We are givers in the community, we are educators, and we are performers. We are mentors of young and older. And it never ends. Music is the forever endeavor. And through our recording efforts, we started our record label in 1997 officially, but prior to that, we were stringing up apartments and different spaces. I did a lot of recording in closets and so forth. And because of the internet and because of social media and so forth, we are world known. And that's pretty cool. So we took a jump from yet another location that we were in. We started in our homes. We went above the New Moon Coffee Company, and then we went to the Washington Building. After that, we went to Bayshore Development. We were there for 9 years. And we're senior citizens, I guess. I'm 67. My husband just turned 70. We could say, let's do something else. No, because this has definitely been half of our lives as givers, and the people that continue to do it, like John Harmon. You all know John Harmon just turned 90 years old, and he still plays every Friday at Manila. Okay, so basically, when we were told, I guess the Bayshore development was going to be made into storage or something like that, we went to our wonderful landlord, and we came to City Center, and we thought, do we stop? And then I walked into a 1,500 square foot empty box that was concrete. It had had water damage, and it was a call center in the early days for Prangy Way. I went, and it went ding, 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 ding. It just echoed. And I'm telling you, y'all are welcome to come by and see what we've done with that space. It's amazing. And we are in a project right now, and we have another inquiry to maybe produce a project that will be done with Japanese musicians, and so it's a world connection, actually. And we're not done yet. The space is also, my plan is to make an educational space. We developed an LLC called The Next Step. So I would like to mentor young folks into a recording experience, because it is different than live. And then take a big, giant step over into the demographic of 55 and older. And have you have an incredible professional recording experience. I have so many ideas. I'm definitely a creative. Whether it's telling your story, getting it on audio, which we've done with John Harmon recently, or mentoring y'all who want to get up and sing a song or play an instrument. We finished a project with a doctor and his wife that did a project for their grandchildren. And we're getting amazing sounds out of this. It's a dream space, and it is gorgeous. We've spent a lot of our own money in updating the equipment. I would just say, please contact me, janet@janetplanet.com, and I would be happy to give anybody a tour, and because I'm really, really excited about it. So, to the point of the redevelopment, I'm praying that we can have coexistence, because I've been in studios all over the country, and I've been in small downtown area studio sessions doing jingles. I used to do jingles, and It's Woodman's. That's me. Anyway, yeah, right. Nobody knows it, right? But nonetheless.
If you could wrap it up, your 5 minutes are.
Okay, all right. Welcome to my husband's world. All right, so anyway, that's my story, and please, janet@janetplanet.com. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have anybody else registered to speak on this. Is there anybody else in the public that's here tonight that wants to speak to us on this one, the city center only? I see not. We're going to move on to 38B. This is Resolution 26-195 and public comment on Resolution 26-195 to direct staff to proceed with the acquisition of 114 High Avenue in the city of Oshkosh, commonly referred to as Thompson Studio property. Is there anyone, I have no one registered, but is there anybody here that would like to speak to us regarding that topic? If not, public comment on those will be considered closed. Deputy Mayor has a motion for us to go into closed session. We will do closed session. Then council will come back out, reconvene in open session, and we will have 2 resolutions in front of us to discuss at that time.
Pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 19.851E, I move that Common Council convenes into closed session where competitive bargaining reasons require a closed session to discuss bargaining options, strategy, parameters, and terms related to the potential redevelopment and/or acquisition of property located at 101 Commerce Street and 201 Pearl Avenue in the city of Oshkosh, commonly known as City Center. The potential redevelopment and/or acquisition of property located at 114 High Avenue in the city of Oshkosh, Thompson Photo Studio property, and 118 High Avenue, Gunderson property, and the potential sale, leasing, or redevelopment of the Grand Oshkosh.
Can I have a second to the?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion to go into closed session? Deputy Mayor has something he'd like to tell us about one of them at least.
Just as always, I'll be out here early because I will be recusing myself from any discussion about the Thompson Photo Studio, the Gunderson property, or the Grand Oshkosh.
Okay. City Clerk, will take the roll to go into closed session.
Amos.
Aye.
Bulow.
Aye.
Stevenson.
Yes.
LaFever.
Aye.
Hesslinger. Spanbauer.
Aye.
Mugrauer.
Aye.
7-0.
Council will convene in 404 next door. Is that correct?
Or you can be in my office.
Or actually, we're going to convene in Rebecca's office. That's a better option. It's also been 2 hours. Let's keep it to 5 or 10 minutes tops before we start that, if anybody needs a break or needs to get refreshments.
The Oshkosh Common Council is currently in a break. For a schedule of all GovTV programming, visit our website at oshkoshmedia.org. This is GovTV, opening accessibility and understanding of local government, helping you to be informed and involved. Also streaming live and on demand at oshkoshmedia.org and radio simulcast on Oshkosh FM 101.9. Like us on Facebook at our Oshkosh Media page. For a schedule of all GovTV programming, visit our website at oshkoshmedia.org. Please stay with us. Coverage will resume shortly.
Okay, we're back in open session. This is following the closed session regarding 2 resolutions. In front of us will be, first thing up, Resolution 26-194, a resolution to direct city staff to proceed with the acquisition of 101 Commerce Street and 201 Pearl Avenue in the city of Oshkosh. These are commonly collectively known as City Center.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion on this item. Mr. Esslinger, floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. In situations like this, you have the purchase of the property is one separate issue. Then you have the things that, looking forward, once you've purchased the property, what are you going to do with it? I think regarding the purchase of the property, pretty much we've figured out what all of those issues are going to be. But for me, there are so many unanswered questions that we don't know yet regarding the future. If we own it, now if we own it, what's going to happen to it? You know, the gentleman that came up here that owns Planet Perk, I felt the frustration, I could hear the frustration in his voice when he was talking about, you know, and this is his livelihood. And this has been going on and on and on with him and the rest of these folks that are at City Center. Quite frankly, I don't know how they get to sleep at night. I can only imagine if I were involved in this situation. But the case for me is they signed a lease with the tenant or with the landlords that they have. Maybe they don't want the city to be their landlord, but they signed the lease that they did, and they get what they get. And I really, really wish the best for them. All great businesses. Moving forward, I think there were, you know, things we talked about in executive session that I don't feel comfortable with talking about just yet, because there's still executive session materials that I have questions about. And so, you know, without getting too long-winded here, I think it's time that we, as the government entity, say we should not be involved in this. This is something that should be bought and sold by the private people. And why the city needs to get involved in this, the argument has not been successfully made to me. And so I understand there's still work to be done, but I've seen enough, I've heard enough. I think our city staff has got other things that need their attention. And so for me, I don't want to waste any more of their time with the ins and outs of this and the other questions that need to be answered and we have not had answered. So I'm not going to be in support of the resolution, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to go Councilmember Stevenson, then Deputy Mayor. I do want to point out just one thing, just for anybody listening. A few folks left here tonight before those two speak. What's before us tonight on this one and the next item, actually, is a resolution that authorizes staff to submit an offer to purchase, nothing more, at the moment. Any proposed acquisition of either properties in either of the resolutions before us shall remain subject to Plan Commission review and recommendation and final council approval of the terms and conditions of the transaction. So we're authorizing staff to formally negotiate, and then a final document will come back to this body either at the next meeting or the one after that, depending on the timeliness of those actions, for a final approval. So I just want to make sure it's clear as to what we're doing tonight. Mr. Stevenson, followed by Deputy Mayor.
I'm just going to give my spiel. As we all know, City Center is 17 acres of prime riverfront in the heart of downtown. While the City Center has successful portions of it, I think a member of our businesses came up here and presented that to us. I think the site, by and large, is underutilized. It could be so much more. Again, it's riverfront, the heart of downtown Oshkosh. It could be a lot more than it is, and that does mean working with our businesses. So let's also acknowledge one reality. One of our largest employers in our downtown just left. 4imprint left that building, and I don't begrudge them, right? They built a very good facility out on the highway. They're still in our businesses, but those jobs left our downtown. That's worrisome. That's not good for our downtown. That's not good for employment. We need to be able to fill those lost jobs. We need to be able to get high-paying employment back in that downtown spot to patron businesses like the folks that come up here and talk to us about Caramel Crisp or Planet Perk. I want those lines to be out the door again. I think we had someone talk last time about how there used to be lines for lunch out the door, getting sandwiches, things like that. I want that to happen again. So my hope is we can move forward with this resolution and we can work collaboratively with businesses that are already there, and we can also improve the facility. I know we had maybe a comment before on how it's not redevelopment. It is redevelopment. We are going to redevelop this building. That is my hope. that we will still be working with those businesses, but we are going to increase the use there. It's going to be a higher and better use. We will be working with the community, we'll be working with Plan Commission on what that use looks like. But for me, that means creating vibrant public spaces. That means opening up riverfront access to our citizens and to our shoppers in the downtown. It means expanding commercial offerings. It means increasing the amount of businesses out there, not decreasing. It means bringing high-paying jobs back to the core of our city. And those high-paying jobs, again, I'm going to point out that we did just lose. So a lot of people ask, what about the cost? And I think that is a fair point. We've been working with staff to explore options that limit the impact on the levy. And we've also been exploring ways that we can have this investment go over the long term. I do want to point out that we are investing in our future here. And while costs are probably heavy up front, we are going to see a return in the future in perpetuity, right? Cities are around forever. If we get a higher tax base here, that tax base is going to remain there forever. And I do think, being on the riverfront, we have a huge opportunity to make a higher and better use down there. I want to also point out that this is what cities do well. I think a lot of people say cities shouldn't be involved in the private sector. Cities aren't good at making land acquisitions. Downtown redevelopment is what cities do very well. And I want to point out just a few examples. We can maybe throw a softball and we'll hit them. If you look at Nina's downtown, the entire Wisconsin Avenue down there, I don't think there's a new building down there that the city hasn't either owned or put development incentive in. They have touched everything down there. Look at Menasha's downtown, the entire thing. You look at the Bonta building, the Bryn building, any of those new facilities, the city has either bought or given development incentives. You look at Appleton's downtown, the River Heath development, the downtown there, they have owned a lot of that land, they've redeveloped themselves, they put themselves in the driver's seat, and that is what Oshkosh should be doing. Again, I'm gonna keep going. The Deer District in Milwaukee, Titletown in Ashwaubenon or Green Bay, a lot of those parcels, the majority of them were owned by those cities at some point and were redeveloped. They worked hand in glove with a redeveloper and created something great. That's what I want to create here for Oshkosh. I want us to work with the developers, I want us to work with the community, and I want us to create something great for Oshkosh. Again, I am emphatically behind this decision, and I hope that other fellow council members are as well. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor, followed by Mr. LaFever.
Well said. I'm going to be shorter and maybe sweet. I'll be supporting this resolution to purchase. Looking at this issue over the last 18 months, this has not been rushed. There are appropriate terms and conditions in the offer to protect the city's interest. Realistically, this is an investment, and it's an investment that we owe to our community both now and for the future.
Mr. LaFever, followed by Mr. Spanbauer.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to echo what Mr. Stevenson said. He said it better than I could. I do believe that this represents an incredible opportunity for downtown Oshkosh. And I also want to be very clear that one of my top priorities throughout this process is the people who are there right now, the tenants, the small businesses, and the people whose livelihoods are tied to these spaces. My support tonight comes with the expectation that they will be treated with dignity, transparency, and good faith consideration throughout this process. I also believe that a public-private partnership represents the best path forward here, not just for downtown, but for the tenants as well. If this property were sold entirely through a private transaction, the city and the public may have little meaningful input in how that transition is handled. By being engaged in the process, we have the opportunity to help shape not only the future of the site, but how the people there today are treated along the way, and that's important to me. As the mayor said, this is not the final vote on this tonight, but it's about whether we are willing to take the next step and pursue what could become one of the most consequential redevelopment opportunities in our community for a long time. So based on what I know today, I believe that taking that next step forward is in the community's best interest, and I'll be supporting this tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Spanbauer.
I think two things can be true. I think we can all acknowledge that there are a lot of great businesses in City Center right now, and we want more and we want better, right? And I think we've heard over and over about we want to continue supporting those businesses. We want to continue to explore what that means for those businesses that are already there. Maybe they stay, maybe they relocate, maybe that's permanent, maybe that's temporary. We don't know what that is yet because we're about to embark on a dreaming phase. We're about to embark on a redevelopment phase. We are about to embark on something that is going to radically change downtown. And so for the many various reasons that have already been stated here tonight that I think are positive, I'm going to be in support of this tonight. And I can't take credit for this, but I think someone said it best last week. You can't paint the picture until you buy the canvas.
I did have something to say, but I feel as though all the rest of the council members did a great job at expressing what I'm thinking. And honestly, just going back to what you said earlier, Paul, about keeping a campaign promise, I ran my entire campaign on supporting economic development, and I think this would be a fantastic opportunity for economic development. So, but like I said, the rest of you guys said it best already, so I'm not going to prolong things. So I definitely support it, though.
I'll go last and wrap it up, and then we'll call for a roll. So, I agree with most of what's been stated here tonight, whether it's public and in the past as well. The acquisition and redevelopment of 17 acres of riverfront property is absolutely something this council should consider when an when an opportunity presents itself. 17 acres of developable riverfront property just generally doesn't even exist in the country, let alone in our backyard. So of course we should thoughtfully consider it. To have control of a site this large is interesting on so many levels from a redevelopment and an economic development standpoint. Council's been discussing and learning about this opportunity for nearly 18 months. It actually predates our current city manager, Grill, as well as many other staff and even council members. The redevelopment of this site has been included in many downtown and central city plans over the years, and we know that it could, should, and would be a catalyst for our downtown and central city. We know that the Imagine Oshkosh plan from about a decade ago, that people spend on average over $100 per week near places they work. So when this center once had 1,200 to 1,500 people working in it daily, that was bringing upwards of $7 to $8 million annually in spend in the downtown area. That is huge in a downtown the size of Oshkosh. Now, that was pre-COVID. The jobs are not lost. They're just gone from downtown, and that is a distinction with a difference. So, in my opinion, anything we do on this site, if we were to control it, has to be about coming from a place of maximizing density, as well as ensuring public's access to waterfront. And those will be discussions for in the future. A decision like this will shape our tax base, will shape our vibrancy and our competitiveness for decades and generations to come. Where I happen to disagree with my colleagues is on the value and the risk of the acquisition at this time. I believe that the city will one day own this property, but I don't think that has to be today, and not at this price, and not with the conditions that are being prescribed. The complexity of a site this large with the current conditions and leases may make it difficult for many developers to do this on their own. This property has not hit the open market, so while it's nice that we've been afforded this opportunity, I happen to believe that we could protect the taxpayers a bit more and acquire this property for less than the current $12.5 million that we're going to consider in just a few moments. I know that I happen to be in the minority on that opinion, and I'm fine taking that position. The risks of acquiring this property today or shortly outweigh the risks of waiting just a bit, in my opinion. And to be clear, to be absolutely crystal clear, the land is what I'm most looking forward to one day controlling. I have no interest in owning the building that currently sits upon that land. This site is large. If fully redeveloped, could be in the range of $150 to $200 million in investment in this community, in our central city, in our downtown. As a lifelong resident, one of the few sitting up here, I've seen the impacts of allowing large properties to fall into disrepair. Morgan site, Buckstaff site, just to name a few. I'm well aware of what can happen to a site that's allowed to get to that point. I'm thankful that we're in a position today to even consider an acquisition of this size. When I joined council a little over 8 years ago, we would not have even been able to consider it. We've grown our general fund balance. For those that don't pay attention, that's our rainy day fund. That's our undesignated cash balance that we can use as we see fit to run the city and to react and to invest. And we've grown that fund balance considerably. We've reduced our percentage of debt allowed. As a decade ago, we were nearly at our limit in terms of how much debt we could even take on as a municipality. We are in a much better financial position today because of prudent and practical decisions that were made over time. But we have many wants and we have many actual needs to consider. Earlier this evening, we had a brief presentation from Community Development on some of the things that Community Development is working on. 7 months ago, we approved a CIP, a capital improvement plan, that includes several of these items. Every fire station in this community needs to be refurbished or replaced. That is 6 fire stations times about $5 million a piece, at minimum $30 million. Public Safety Training Center, at least $12 million, hopefully less. Roads, South Main Street reconstruction and land acquisition in the millions, and we don't have an actual dollar amount. Pedestrian bridge, we just rediscussed this evening, anywhere from 2 to 5, maybe more millions that we will be responsible for. Pioneer Island Riverwalk, current budget $5 million, however, could be $20 to $30 million depending on what the state of Wisconsin requires us to do. Roads, City Hall renovation or refurbished, currently $35 million, and I'm hoping the city manager's pencil gets a whole lot sharper on that in the future. Farmington housing development, millions in infrastructure that we have already supported and need to fund. Did I mention roads? And City Center. We're being asked to approve $12.5 million for an acquisition. I agree, we do not know the final outcome of this. We don't know what the plan is. We have to go through that. And this is different. Most communities acquire after it's gone blighted. This is different. I recognize that. But there's other costs that need to be considered if we were to tear the entire facility down. The demolition costs, the remediation costs, utilities and infrastructure. We're not necessarily being asked to approve $12.5 million tonight. In my opinion, we're being asked to approve much more than that, upwards of $30 million all in, before we could even potentially redevelopment. And that would be what I would be hoping for, is a full redevelopment. My message is we can't do everything and we can't do it all at once. And all the things I just listed are in front of us for the next 1 to 3 to 5 years. And that's a lot to ask in our current financial position, and we're in a good financial position, and that's a lot to ask. I won't be supportive of the resolution tonight. I understand where the rest of council sits. I think they understand well where I sit. We've had lengthy and substantive and thorough discussions and debate over 18 months, and respect every single one of the positions that they're going to take. I hope they'll respect mine as well. I just will be in the negative at this time for this ask. City Clerk, if you'll please take the roll on 26194.
Amos.
Aye.
Bulow.
Aye.
Stevenson.
Aye.
LaFever.
Aye.
Esslinger.
No.
Spanbauer.
Aye.
Mugrauer.
No.
5-2 carries.
Next up, we have Resolution 26195. This is a resolution to direct staff to proceed with the acquisition of 114 High Avenue in the city of Oshkosh. This is commonly referred to as Thompson Studio property. I'll need a motion in a second, please.
Move it.
So move, or second.
Esslinger and Stevenson. Before we do anything on this, I'd like to amend 26195 to insert a purchase price of $776,175. I'll need a second to the amendment.
Second.
Discussion on the amendment. Only on the amendment first at this point. I see no interest in discussing the amendment, so clerk, when you're ready, if you could take the roll on 26195 as amended to include a purchase price of $776,175.
Amos.
Aye.
Bulow.
Present.
Stevenson.
Aye.
LaFever.
Aye.
Esslinger.
Aye.
Spanbauer.
Aye.
Mulgrauer.
Aye.
6-0.
We have 26-195 as amended on the floor. Now is your time for comments on this potential acquisition. Mr. Stevenson.
Just want to point out that this is already money that we've budgeted for. This is for the Grand Opera House addition. We had either way. We approved $5 million a year ago to do this. This amount is coming out of that $5 million.
And again, this is authorizing city staff to execute a purchase agreement. That agreement will be subject to council's final review and approval, hopefully in the very near future. No other comments or questions? City Clerk, if you'll take the roll on 26-195 as amended.
Amos.
Aye.
Bulow.
Still present.
Stevenson.
Yes.
LaFever.
Aye.
Esslinger.
Aye.
Spanbauer.
Aye.
Mulgrauer.
Aye.
6-0 carries.
That concludes the action items for this evening. It's only 10:14. We still got plenty of night left to go, based upon some of our recent council meetings. We have council discussion, direction to city manager, future agenda items, just a few items here. I have nothing under discussion or direction to city manager. Mr. Esslinger, is it under this one or something else?
I think this would be the appropriate place, okay. And this is actually for the city manager. Ms. Grill, we had going back to the election cycle, the Oshkosh Community Media situation of canceling things, or, the Life TV. And there were talks of restructuring that. I've had a good amount of phone calls and contacts of asking me how and what has been decided. I don't know. So I don't know. I think this would probably be a good time if you could. Where are you at? Where are we going to go? What do you suggest? Does the council need to do something? Direction, maybe? I don't know.
Well, you beat me to it because I was going to talk about this. Not
Sorry
probably,
about that.
not probably in the specific details that you're looking for tonight, but we have had discussions with the library board and the library director about moving the radio station over there. Some good discussions. Final decisions haven't been made, but we're moving forwards towards that. We've also had good discussions with other community partners about the relocation of Life TV. We hope to have those agreements come before you on June 16th for your consideration. Still working out the details, and I don't want to mention too much, but that's the update that I was going to give under the next section. So thank you.
We're on the same wavelength then.
Yes.
That's scary. Thank you.
Okay. Future agenda items, meetings, workshops. Tomorrow night, we have an orientation. This is budget and funding, as well as city attorney, 5 p.m. Do we have an estimated end time? Is that an hour, hour and a half?
Maybe 4 or 5 hours.
It just keeps in line with all of our other meetings lately.
I don't want to be.
I'm just thankful at 10:15 at night, we still have a sense of humor.
I think we only have a sense of humor.
I think it might be 90 minutes or less.
Sounds good. Thank you for that. May 26th, plan for a little bit of a long evening that night, kind of keeping in accordance with some of our recent meetings. Workshop at 5 p.m., snowplow policy, as well as sanitation division updates. Our regular meeting that evening at 6 p.m., and then following that, there will also be a workshop on new utility construction special assessments. All very riveting, and looking forward to that. I am saying that smiling. And then May 27th, the very next night, we'll have another orientation/workshop. This will be on fire, EMS, emergency government, and the fire study, which may or may not touch on some things I talked about a few seconds ago in terms of some of our additional needs in the community. Councilmember announcements and statements. Mr. Deputy Mayor, that's something he'd like to share with us?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to be appointed to the CVB board, the Discover Oshkosh, and I have a couple of updates from the previous meeting, care of the amazing Amy Albright. Number one, EAA Air Venture was named the #1 best air show by USA Today. So kind of a cool celebration. And this is very apropos to announce on a night that we discussed the pedestrian and bike bridge. May is National Bike Month. And so one of the highlights is the National Bike to Work Day, which is Friday, May 15th. So come celebrate the holiday and supercharge your Friday morning bike commute by stopping at Opera House Square on Main Street in Algoma Boulevard, where you can say hi to Sean from Winnebago Bicycle, one of our speakers earlier tonight, and Jake from Wisconsin Bike Fed. They'll be airing up tires, lubing chains, and doing free minor adjustments, while the folks at New Moon will be providing free coffee, or providing coffee for your, hopefully it's free now that I've said that, I don't know. We'll be providing coffee for your, as your bike gets some TLC.
I thought you were going to donate for
It sounds like I might be.
He might be.
It's after 10 p.m., nothing is binding. So come on down with enough time to start your day. I know I will be down there to hang out, so maybe I'll be buying some coffees as well.
Any other council member announcements or statements? I don't see any pre-registered. Mr. Spanbauer.
I just wanted to take this opportunity to talk about something that when I first got on council, I met with City Manager Grill about, and it was about looking at our facilities. We've had some various studies and other things done, but as some folks may know, one thing that I do a lot for the university is look at our facilities and look at our utilities. And so the city staff here were sort of encouraged to reach out to an entity called Focus on Energy. If folks aren't familiar with Focus on Energy, they are an entity that is funded through the utility program. And they help entities find energy savings, and then you can get incentives or rebates back for those. And so this was something that I do a lot in my day-to-day job, and then wanted to kind of bring that to the city. And the reason I bring this up is just wanting to emphasize, I guess, sort of fiscal responsibility. I think the city staff here are doing a really good job of taking this seriously and looking at our city facilities, looking at the studies that we've had done, and happy to report that they are already receiving some financial incentive from that. So they're getting some incentive checks back for projects that they have already undertaken, and that they are continuing to pursue these efforts in looking at our kind of building report, doing some other kinds of HVAC tune-ups and upgrades and maintenance, right? But that there are financial incentives that come back to the city. And so I just want to really emphasize that, I think we hear a lot about, again, kind of this fiscal responsibility that is being taken very seriously here. And so I just wanted to share that with the community that we're, I think, moving in the right direction on that front.
Thank you, Councilmember Spanbauer.
I've got an anecdote.
I'm questioning if I should call on you. Mr. Stevenson, go ahead.
We approved two big things tonight, City Center and the pedestrian bridge. Those were both in plans, so please take us seriously when we come out and ask you about things. I know our comprehensive safety bike action plan, I don't know the entire acronym, but we had that plan come out, and a lot of people responded for it. So if you want a walkable city, a bikeable city, if you want anything, please respond to our plans. Please take our surveys. We take them seriously. That's it.
Good update. Anybody else with any updates or announcements? Otherwise, we'll turn it over to City Manager. She's got a couple, and I think maybe a couple staff members who've stuck around have some things they want to share too.
I don't know if there's any questions on the 51 or 50 or 51, but I can give the pub crawl update, and then Ryan Lemke from Public Works operations is going to talk about the flood response and then give an update for the department. So in addition to talking about Oshkosh Media on June 16th, we're also going to have an update about pub crawl and some options that the council might want to consider to mitigate some of the challenges that have ongoing challenges. So just wanted to let you know that that was coming up on the 16th. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Lemke.
It's still good evening. It's not good morning yet.
Good evening. Yeah, still good evening. That's good. So just wanted to recognize for the flooding and the staff sandbagging efforts that they took place during that time. Though we were very well prepared, we didn't need them, fortunately, so that was good. But everything went off without a hitch. The team did a fantastic job, worked a couple long hours, did some delivery to some citizens in need along the Campbell Creek area. And but that is all pretty much residing, and everything should be good to go for now. So just wanted to recognize those staff for that extra efforts.
I appreciate you you bringing this up, making sure that they're getting some recognition. Staff, command staff as well, just in terms of jumping at that, getting on that topic and that situation right away. Right, obviously we got the benefit of seeing what was happening upriver from us. Thankfully, the impact was minimal. Right. It could have been worse. One thing I just wanted to point out and acknowledge. I made a comment tonight about our debt position about a decade ago. And one of the reasons our debt position was where we were was because of some decisions that councils of about 10 to 15 years ago made in terms of stormwater and improving the roads and trying to protect property in this community. It wasn't that long ago that when we got a modest rain, people's houses were flooding. That was a significant amount of rainfall in a very short amount of time in this area. And to my knowledge, the impact was exceptionally minimal. And that just goes, you don't always get to see the fruits of your labor immediately, that it can take some time. I've asked James, Mr. Robbie, a number of times over the years why we need to keep digging stormwater retention ponds. And this was a reason, this was a way to show me that this is why we've done that.
Are you saying James was right?
He was right, and I will go on record. He's been right numerous times, more than I've ever been right. But acknowledgement to not only staff, but city councils in the previous, that without those decisions, those tough decisions that they made, and the tough recommendations that were made by staff, this community would have been in a much different position just a couple weeks ago.
For sure.
Just want to
I
say,
agree.
so acknowledging all of them and saying thank you to anyone involved in those, in that process over quite a many years.
The other thing that kind of tails into that too, next week is National Public Works Week. I know we talked about that in the beginning of the meeting, but just want to also acknowledge staff and their tireless efforts and dedication to what they do on a daily basis. Unfortunately, many of the times it goes unseen, but we like that. We'll run everything behind the scenes, and I feel that our team does a terrific job at doing that on a daily basis. A couple other things just to add here for operations updates. The newly created Buildings and Grounds Division manager starts on Monday. She is coming to us from the Maryland area, and probably in the next couple council meetings here, we'll bring her in for an introduction and show everybody, introduce her to that. Another small project that you'll see we had Ken put out on social media a little bit. You'll see some activity in the Menominee Park area east of the tennis courts. We are doing some minor tweaks and adjustments to the new train route for a little bit better, safer train station entrance and exit. So you'll see the team working over there. I believe they started today, right after the rain, and then it should be finished up by the end of the week. And then continuing to clean up the area from the flooding along the lake shore. I know we had gotten quite a few complaints on that. There was a massive amount of debris that washed up on all the shorelines at the parks, and we are still continuing to clean those things up as well. The Irving Avenue Railroad Crossing, for those that were part of that, that's done for now. A couple of years from now, I understand. Yeah, I understand that they will be probably replacing some throughout town, but for right now, we got a pretty decent temporary solution that I think everybody's pretty happy with. And then the week of the 25th, just a reminder for sanitation, trash collection, recycling will be pushed back one day for the holiday. All right, that's all I got.
Council, any questions?
Thank you.
If not, I'd be happy to take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Third.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.